And welcome to another episode of the Tar Heels Insider Podcast right here on SI. I'm your host, Grant Chachere, and joined here by Jeremiah Artacho. But we are both of Tar Heels on SI. Also, make sure to go follow us on Twitter at Chachere Grant
Go
and
follow.
Jeremiah Artacho. Go make sure to follow us on Twitter. Also, make sure to go follow Tar Heels on SI on Twitter, and also do the same thing on Facebook. Go like and follow our page for all the latest content in regards to UNC athletics. We got fall camp rolling around pretty strongly. We're going to be on our computers, making sure we follow up along with the latest breaking news in Tar Heel football. Also, we'll discuss all of the top headlines in regards to not just football, but also basketball and some other sports as well when need be. But the last episode we had yesterday, we went over the strengths. So make sure to go check that out on YouTube. Also, the article's going to be up on the website as well. So make sure to go check that out. But today we're going to go over the weaknesses of this Tar Heel football team. We're going to pick one that we think is the biggest weakness for this team. And we're going to start off with you, Jeremiah, once again. Jeremiah, what do you think is the biggest weakness for this Tar Heel football team?
All right. Going on the offensive end, the running back room. That is what I feel like is the weakness. I mean, all right, besides Amarian Hampton obviously leaving, I mean, he was a generator for the offense last season for points. I mean, he felt like really the only bright spot in terms of scoring touchdowns and creating some kind of offense during each drive. I mean, he was moving the chains for the Tar Heels. But when looking at the running back room, you have Caleb Hood, Davion Gauze, Charleston French, Benjamin Hall. You have Demon June. You have Jalen McGill and Jalen Nichols. You have JoJo Troop. I mean, Caleb Hood, and when he spoke to us during the first meet availability on August 2nd, he was asked about like how he was a starter. He did take a lot of snaps at one point of his career earlier on, but he went into a reserve role, and he's just trying to find his way, trying to find his footing. I mean, I would not be surprised if he does be the RB1 on the first game of the season against TCU. I mean, he looked a lot lighter when he was up there standing at the podium. He looked leaner, slimmer, as asked from one of the reporters. So, but in terms of the rest of the running back room, it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out. I mean, there's a lot of young guys and not a lot of experience, but Caleb Hood is one of those guys who are trying to establish like a role there. And then you have Davion Gauze as well as another option for Bill Belichick. I mean, the running back room is definitely what I'd say is the weakness in comparison to the rest of the rooms on the offensive end.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think you hit it right on the nail with the running back group. Of course, you lose a big time running back in Omar and Hampton, who not only ran for over 16,000 yards and scored 15 touchdowns, but he also had over 350 yards of receiving as well. He was a great contributor to the passing game as well. And you lose that. You lose nearly 2,000 yards of total offense. I mean, that's just not an ideal situation, especially when the guy who's supposed to be replacing him is Davion Goss. And yes, he has been been added to the watch list for the Doug Walker Award. But that happens when you're the running back in North Carolina. Usually you're expected to do great things, just given the fact that 5 of the last 6 years, North Carolina's had a 1,000-yard rusher. But I just think that after Davion Goss, I mean, what's there, right? Caleb Hood, yes, and he's a leader. He's been there for a little while, and I think when he's healthy, he can be good. But the problem is he's been injured. He's seen the training room more than he's seen the field throughout his career. And then of course you got Benjamin Hall, who is a big back, 6', 235, transfer from Michigan, but he didn't really have that much production in Michigan. Now he is a great at pass pro in terms of pass blocking and going out and catching pass, but I mean he hasn't really, shown any flashes of what he could do. Because if he's shown any flashes, he wouldn't be in North Carolina. He used to be at Michigan. So it's very interesting. This running back room would be very interesting, and wondering if maybe some of the freshmen can come up and do some great things. So of course, you also have to mention Charleston French as well. But there really is a lot of questions about this running back room.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I think I was going to say the running back room. I was thinking about it, but really, in my opinion, if you had to pick a position, and I almost picked the defensive line too, right? Because of the amount of freshmen that are in that interior defensive line. But I think there's enough good players in the interior defensive line. And I have some good. That's my biggest concern for the defense. But as a team, to me, it's the receiving core, and that also includes the tight ends. I mean, Kobe Paysour is the most experienced player on this roster, right? He's had 72 receptions for 971 yards and 7 touchdowns throughout his career. But last season, yes, he did have 22 catches for 369 yards, which is, really good. I mean, it was still a lot of yards per catch. And he also is really good at contested catches, 6 for 13. But at the same time, he did not have a receiving touchdown last year, and he's expected to be the number one wide receiver, which is something he's never been throughout his entire career. Can he have the mental capacity? Not the mental capacity, but like the mentality of I am the number one receiver. That's a great question. I do really like Jordan Shipp. I think Jordan Shipp has the potential to be the best receiver.
I think so too.
Especially given all the high expectations on him. But once again, 9 catches for 160 yards and touchdown last year. And I know the quarterback room wasn't great because of Max Johnson's injury, but still, like, it's more unproven potential than it is, oh, yeah, for sure, this group is a really strong group. Isaiah Johnson, same thing, 16 catches for 276 yards and 2 touchdowns. Yes, he did average 17.3 yards per catch with a long of 52 yards. But he also has great yards after catch, 6.8 yards after catch. But, again, not a whole lot of production, right? And Michigan State had a so-so quarterback issue as well. But then, it just gets slimmer. Chris Culver, 6 catches for 135 yards and a touchdown. But 96 of those 135 yards came against NC State. It's just not a deep receiver room. And then you have Paul Billups. Paul Billups. You get Kennedy Uzuma, Madrid Tucker, Shenard Clower, and Nathan Leacock. Now, Nathan Leacock is another depth piece. I think him, Paul Billups, and Chris Culver will be the first rotational guys. But I'll say this, man. We've seen Adrian Wilson.
Oh, yeah.
He looks like he could be a very good player, but we've never seen him play because he's a true freshman. There's a lot of unproven. Yeah. And then the tight end room, of course, you got Connor Cox and you got Jake Johnson. But once again, none of these guys have had high production. None of these guys have been the number one receiver. And that's my biggest concern because you have a guy like G. Lobos who's dynamic. You can't rely on running the ball all the time, right? I know you have a great offensive line. I know you have some decent, you have David Goss, who's a pretty good, has the potential to be a good running back, even though the running back room is shaky. But in my opinion, the receiving core, I mean, there's not a true number one. There's not a guy on the roster who'd be like, this guy is the number one receiver.
Yeah.
Throwing to him
there's
60, 70, 80% of the time. There's not one player like that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, there's not one guy right now. At least right now, there's not one guy where you can pinpoint. That's wide receiver 1. I mean, could that be Jordan Shipp? Yeah, possibly. But there isn't in past season. There are no more JJ Jones. There's no more Josh Downs. I mean, you just don't have that type of guy right now. So we just have to wait and see for these games to unfold. I mean, the games are really going to show what this UNC team is about. Obviously, I mean, and just like the lack of the amount of players that are new to the team and players that are coming back that were on the roster last season but haven't proven as much. So Bill Belichick is working with he's in a fascinating situation, to say the least.
Yeah. Hey, look, I mean, TCU is going to be a tough team, right? You're going to see a lot from TCU. But I think also another game that you're going to see where this team is going is the UCF game. Yes, I know UCF's coming off of a 4-8 season. And, of course, they brought back Scott Frost to Orlando, but at the same time, that place is a really tough place to play. So to me, if UNC goes 2-2 in the first 4 games, I mean, they can be in trouble. And really, right now, I mean, the quarterback, like we discussed in the strengths, like The quarterbacks are really good. The offensive line is also obviously another strength that we didn't talk about. The offensive line, I talked about a lot. I think that offensive line, even without Austin Blasky, has a chance to be pretty good because of the depth.
Yeah, I feel like they're a gimme.
But with Austin Blasky, I think with Austin Blasky, I think UNC has a top 4 or 5 offensive line in the ACC. But the thing is, though, is that there's not a proven wide receiver, and if you don't have a proven wide receiver, how do you expect the passing game to even go about? You can't have a one-dimensional offense, especially with a guy like Gio Lopez, who has proven that he can throw the ball down the field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just gonna be it's just gonna take some real game action to see like, all right, who's gonna really step up and make these catches for UNC and Bill Belichick. I mean, it's just gonna be a matter of time, and once the games go on, we're gonna start to see like, all right, who's gonna be the go-to option for, let's say, Gio Lopez as a starter. It's gonna be the go-to option for Gio Lopez, and then it's just all of that's gonna be answered as the game goes on. But at this moment, definitely wide receiver is another weakness in addition to the running back room. I mean, those two weaknesses are just really always going to be focal points in terms of scoring the football and getting touchdowns. I mean, how else are you going to win?
Yeah. It's not to be negative, Nancy, but that's just what the situation UNC is. And I think, and the fact that we both said the offense said, remember you asked me in the last episode when we did the strengths, you really think the defense can be better than offense? And I said yes. And then the fact that we named 2 offensive positions off the bat with running backs and receivers, which are, which is the 2 positions where you lost the most production. Now you see why people were a little bit higher on the defense than the offense, even though the defense for North Carolina has been poo-poo. Right?
It's really interesting.
Even I knew that, and I just got to Chapel Hill like 2 weeks ago because they're just bad. I mean, they're just I know North Carolina more for throwing the ball down the field and running the crap out of the ball. There's I'm saying they got a lot of great offensive talent, but the defensive side of the ball, you really haven't had any since maybe the early 2010s when you had Bowers and Quentin Copeland and all these different guys, right? Quentin Coples, I think that's his name, Quentin Coples. I forget. I think I butchered it. Did I get that right?
Oh yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna make sure I got that right. But that's my point. But even those defenses, I don't think were great either. Which is saying a lot, and considering the amount of talent that were on those on the
you got team. It. Yeah, it's Quentin Coples.
Quentin Coples, that's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought. But you know what I'm saying? So it's like Robert Quentin Coples. Yeah, that's who it was. You just haven't had you just haven't had great defenses throughout North Carolina's history. And I was going over the top 5 quarterbacks, and one of the guys I mentioned was Darian Durant, right? Darian Durant is for a little while was the school's leading passer. From 2001 to 2004, and now he's still third, even with Drake May and Sam Howell have come through a campus. But the craziest thing is, if you look at his stats for that time period, weren't that bad. He was a solid quarterback in the early 2000s. He really was. But those defenses were horrible. They were the reason. There were 2 seasons where they went 2-10. The other one, I think they went 4-8 or whatever.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Like 3-8, and a lot of that's because their defenses were terrible. So North Carolina and defense have never come together. It's like oil and water; they just don't go together. And the fact that we're talking about the defense being stronger than offense, either is a scary thought for UNC fans, or they might be like, finally. What I'm saying?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it's really interesting. I mean, you have to put it this way: Bill Belichick's first season. And years prior, before he stepped into Chapel Hill, offense has always been the stronger side of the game for UNC in comparison to the defense. But now it's the opposite. It's complete opposite. Defense is now seems to be the stronger point of the game for UNC in comparison to the offense. So it's just really interesting how the ties change. So it's UNC fans are definitely going to be have mixed feelings, but I think it's a good thing that UNC has what it takes to stop other teams from scoring. So I mean, for what it's worth, I mean, if UNC holds their opponent to 0, but if they're unable to score, I mean, it's just gonna be a tie game throughout the rest of the action.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. And just, it's just unfortunate that, we like the offense is going to be the biggest question for this UNC team. And look, I think a lot of UNC fans are glad that the defense has a chance to be better, be one of its better, quite some time. But the fact that it's sacrificing for the fact that the offense could be the weak link for this team. I mean, it can make the difference. And luckily, you have an easy, kind of a relatively easy schedule once you get in conference play. But there's no guarantees in the sport of football, especially in a conference like the ACC, which is a dog eat dog conference, right? I mean, it truly is. I mean, it was like that. It's like that in basketball. But the thing about between basketball and football, the basketball in the ACC is a lot better than the football in the ACC, right?
Oh yeah, no,
Outside of Clemson and Florida State, I mean, like there's really been no other team that's like, yeah, we're the dominant team, right? I mean,
yeah,
Miami's never won an ACC championship. They they
yeah,
they joined in 04, and at the time when they were still really good, never won an ACC championship. Like you know what I'm saying, besides Florida State and Clemson, I mean those two teams, and then Georgia Tech, then sometime late 2000s, of course, will emerge. But other than that, I mean it's been just Florida State and Clemson.
yeah. No, ACC has always been a basketball conference. I mean, I feel like that's a common fact for people to agree on. I'd say personally, but yeah, it's it's going to be interesting. I mean, running back room, wide receiver room, but Belichick has a good group of coaches around him, so another test to see what that they can do.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for today's podcast. Uh, this is Grant Chachere, Jeremiah Artacho, both of Tar Heels on SI. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. Also, make sure to go follow Tar Heels on SI on Twitter, and also follow and like the Facebook page as well. Also, our website, once again, is free, so make sure to go check that out. This is the Tar Heels Insider Podcast, and we'll see you guys next time.
See you.